Hey, welcome to the holiday edition of the book podcast, sometimes referred to as the holiday office party. I'm not sure if we're sticking at it, but as you can see, we're doing it like everybody else is remotely via video. So, welcome to our two permanent co-hosts, Misty. Nice to have you back. It's been like a month and a half since we've seen you.
Yep, happy to be here.
Hopefully Rob is using some non-copywritten music there, so we're not taken down moments after we go live. Jesse, also good to have you back again.
Good to be here.
And there's Rob, who is doing all the heavy lifting, getting this going. So I am going to sign into YouTube so I can kind of monitor in the event there are any comments or questions. But we're going to be reviewing a couple of movies. We're going to have a quiz tonight, a holiday-themed quiz, and really it's a Christmas quiz that's from Scotland. So I went ahead and I deleted anything that was specific to the Scots and kind of kept it to the more international stuff. But we will be putting our two permanent co-hosts on the spot as they battle it out for a spot as the winner of the 2020 trivia contest. But I guess first we have to go around. It's become a tradition. Jesse, what's in that can?
Tecate.
Tecate.
Oh, cool.
That is probably the lowest rent beer I've ever seen you drink, by the way. Like, I can actually buy that, like, at 7-Eleven. Nothing you ever, like, everything you drink always requires, like, an explanation. Like, I've never seen it in the wild. Misty, I saw you with what looked like a coffee cup, but I'm sure is not coffee.
It's not. This is Rudolph's Tipsy Spritzer.
Oh. And what goes specifically into that?
It's a vodka punch left over from the puppy party yesterday.
Oh God, he did bring that up again.
Wait, you were giving vodka to puppies?
Yeah.
Okay, come on now. No, but it's got ginger ale and vodka and orange juice, cranberry juice. It's a mix, and it's delightful.
2020 gets weirder and weirder. Misty had a party for some dogs. It was a birthday party, and I like how she lumped in like one dog's birthday's in 2 days, and the other one's like 4 months old. So it was like this weird. I don't. Anyway, it was a long discussion before we started this. Rob, what's in that glass of beer? Schlitz.
It's Tecate. No, it's from Phase 3 Brewing. It's a crowler of corporate meeting, double IPA, 7.8% alcohol.
Not to stray too far off. Not to stray too far off the subject, but there is a brewery opening, I'm guessing sometime in 2021 down the street from me, Rob. It's called Black Lung Brewing. I read an article about them on the internet somewhere. Yes, Black Lung. The thing that used to kill coal miners. Yes, right. That's Black Lung Brewing. But they secured like all the permits and stuff, and they say they're ready to get started on opening. So I am having, in case anybody was wondering, Late Night's wine from the St. Julian Vineyard in beautiful Michigan, where all the best wine comes from.
Love that label.
It is. It's cloyingly sweet. It is disgusting, and I absolutely love it. It's by far my favorite wine.
So I think I'm going to ask the question that's on everybody's mind. No chocolate wine?
No chocolate wine. And off air, I'll tell you guys why I decided not to go with chocolate wine, because I did find 6 bottles that I purchased last year, but I opted to not go with the chocolate wine this year.
6 bottles, good for you.
Mm-hmm. Shit flies off the shelves fast. I think if I'm there, it does. I put it all in my cart and I create a frenzy. People are like, "Are you guys getting any more of that?"
In the beer chasing world, or in the whiskey chasing world, that would be called bunkering. Bunker bottles. You have those saved for when you run out of your usual bottle. You go to the bunker to get a new bottle.
Yeah. Additionally, I was wondering how long that takes to go bad. Like, I don't know what that's made of, so I was also a little iffy. Like, I thought about it, and now I'm just gonna give them as gifts to people I don't like all that much.
Well, if you can have like a decades-old bottle of Chateau Neuf de Pop, I think you're fine.
Okay.
I have no idea, for real.
Do you guys want to jump right into a movie?
Would love to.
Let's do it.
All right. So the first movie we're going to be talking about is the 1984 film classic Gremlins. Some of you may have heard this. I'm going to give you a little background. Here is the synopsis that may or may not be crowdsourced on IMDb. A boy inadvertently breaks 3 important rules concerning his new pet and unleashes a horde of malevolent malevolently mischievous monsters on a small town. A couple of notes. This has a 7.3 out of 10 rating on IMDb. The movie runs an hour and 46 minutes. As I mentioned, it's from the year 1984. And I'm sure we'll talk about a lot more things about that. But I'm going to kick it over to Rob and see how we want to get going on this.
I think I want to acknowledge first, and Jesse or someone else might know, Spielberg's involved in this, right?
Yes.
He was on the producing side of it, yeah.
Okay. So this is technically a Spielberg film, or no?
No.
No. They just put his name on it to sell more Gremlins.
This was also written by Christopher Columbus.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Who wrote Home Alone, if you remember from watching last year. So the movie, at least in its written formation, has been around for at least hundreds of years.
There you go. Here's what I'll say. The movie actually starts out in like a noir narration kind of fashion, right? With Billy
It all
Peltzer's dad.
started in Chinatown.
Yeah, Rand Peltzer. It's straight noir narration, and it's like, so it's set up as a fable because it started out with like, I'm gonna tell you this crazy story that once happened, and then it dives into the actual like, and at the beginning of the movie, since it starts off in like this like Chinese knick-knack shop, I'm like, ooh, how much racism are we gonna be talking about in this movie? So off the bat, it's got a couple of good little zingers right at you in the beginning. I like that noir narration though, especially for a guy who does not deserve to do any like the character is not a noir character, but he's got that serious like old school narration style.
I have 2 thoughts that I want to mention. First of all, there's a broken down. I read some of the trivia on this. There's a broken down car right in front of the shop they go into. It's like got smoke coming out from under the hood. That is actually an AMC Gremlin, apparently.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I know that this movie might seem incredulous throughout, but I think that right from the very start, the fact that guy has $200, like, I don't understand. Like, the rest of the movie isn't possible because we can break it right at the beginning that the guy who sells all those terrible gadgets has $200, like walking around money. Struck me as maybe the most unrealistic thing in that whole movie. And this movie is filled with green little monsters who have an uncanny understanding of technology, and yet,
They do.
yeah, that Billy's father running around $200. I can't get over it.
That is hilarious.
Not only do they have an uncanny knack for technology, they know the words to songs they've never heard before.
Yeah.
As far as we can tell.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
That's when they're singing around Snow White. Yep.
Miraculous little creatures. Here's what I'll
In
say.
the
I don't
event-
wanna-
Alleyway, though. Oh, no, go ahead.
I don't want to get too much into it, but like if you think about the income inequality of today versus what it was in the mid 80s, it's probably easier to have stacks of cash if you weren't a CEO than it is now.
Yeah, that $200. I'm trying to think. In 1984, had to be like walking around with $1,000 now. I don't know what the actual. I'm not going to look it up. But
That's my point.
yeah. So for anybody who's not familiar with this movie, shame on you. But here's a little bit of a dive into it. A traveling salesman who creates an inventor who creates his own weird gadgets that don't seem to work very well. Stumbles onto a shop in Chinatown where a boy, who I actually had to look up because I thought he was the kid from the Indiana Jones movies, turns out he is not, takes him down into this basement shop where he acquires a mogwai, which, by the way, is Cantonese for monster. For anybody who's wondering. Yeah, monster, demon, or some other like spirit. It's like the definition of Mogwai. To buy for his son, there are 3 rules in possessing a Mogwai. There are 3 things you should never do. You should never let them into the bright light because it could kill them. You should never get them wet, and you must absolutely never feed them after midnight. And I'm guessing if you haven't seen it, you can probably guess from the 3 rules and from the synopsis that I read that all of these get broken and mayhem ensues. Now, one of the other things I found a little weird, and it's hard to watch fun movies like this because I love this movie, but when you watch it critically, it really has tons of holes in it. So the kid says, don't let them into bright light, it'll kill them, but neglects to mention what happens if you get them wet or you feed them after midnight. It gives the warning without any explanation of what'll happen. And I could see if you didn't mention it for any of the 3, but you just mentioned it for the one. Like the one that you need to know is that the bright light kills them. The other 2, just don't do it. Don't worry about what happens. Just don't do it.
That's a fair point.
That's a
fair point.
I mean,
that is a fair point.
I do want to read a comment from Comrade Chrome, longtime friend of this podcast, who says, Jesse, taking it easy with a Tecate, no judgment. He has some in his fridge, too. Happy Festivus, you filthy animals. Well, happy Festivus to you, Comrade Chrome.
Right back at you, man.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers.
The thing that was striking to me that maybe I didn't get when I saw this as a youngster, and then I feel like maybe I've seen this once in recent years, but kind of like Misty was saying earlier, like kind of on in the background, is just how many nods there are to other movies through the course of this. The first one that I noticed as a significant one is the bank scene. That's almost straight out of The Wizard of Oz, right? Mrs. Deagle shows up demanding, the head of the dog that ruined her Christmas ornament. And I mean, in that, I was struck by how close it is to The Wizard of Oz and Elmira Gulch coming after Toto. But what I didn't realize until I looked it up on IMDb is the actress that plays her was Flo in the old Alice sitcom. And I don't know, you guys might even be a little too young for that.
I remember Alice.
Yeah, she worked at Mel's Diner. And she was really the main character. Well, I guess she was the side character. She was the most entertaining of the characters, I think, on the show Alice. So that was kind of a nice thing to find out.
She was kind of a crusty bitch in this.
And she was a little bit of a crusty bitch in this, and she got her comeuppance.
She did.
Later in the movie, which may come up as one of the most iconic death scenes, I believe, in movies. Yeah.
I just want to call out, I have these notes, and I just kind of took notes as the mood struck. But did anybody else think all of the snow in the movie was like the fakest ass-looking snow possible?
Dude, except for on the shrub tops in one scene, the snow looked completely fake.
Yeah.
Like, they did a good job there, because that's what would actually happen. But all the car snow, except for Billy's not working car, it's like they just kind of rubbed it on like wax and then didn't buff it out. Like, it looked pretty bad.
Yeah, it was pretty bad snow. Pretty bad.
I did not notice.
I did not.
Missy's like, this is magical.
I thought it was interesting that Judge Reinhold and Phoebe Cates are both in this. Previously from Fast Times at Ridgemont High, although we did see 100% less Phoebe Cates nudity than we did in Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
However, also 100% less date rape and abortion. So you take the good with the bad.
That's also true.
I'm glad Livius brought up Fast Times because Judge Reinhold's character in Gremlins is basically Brad from Fast Times if his life wouldn't have gotten off track.
That's interesting.
I read an interesting bit of trivia that Judge Reinhold in the original filming played a much larger role in the kind of action that happens between them and the Gremlins, but then was cut from most of that, which makes sense because they make a big enough deal about him at the beginning and then he just kind of disappears.
He does.
So he was, I guess the original cut was something like ridiculous, like 2.5 hours or something, and basically they cut all of his stuff except for the bank scene.
Speaking of the bank scene, did anybody else notice that like Barney the dog was suspiciously like aware of everything that was going on? Like if Barney's mentioned, like if Miss Deagle says the dog's name, like they cut to the dog looking up, or if she threatens the dog, then the dog does something, and then eventually the dog attacks Miss Deagle. That dog had more like anima than Billy did, I think. Like that, right?
I mean, dogs are amazing creatures, is what I'm hearing.
You needed a Barney at that party, I think. But it was suspicious,
Yeah. He's responding, yeah.
But I don't think Barney had that much going on in any other part of the movie. It was just in response to Mrs. Deagle, right?
He responds when like the dad says that Mogwai are going to replace dogs as man's best friend.
Yep, that's the other time.
And then the Gremlins kind of taunt him, and he's responding to that. So he has character throughout.
Okay.
That's some good foreshadowing right there, because we know none of the Peltzer inventions work right.
Yeah.
And so he thinks he's going to turn the Mogwai into a Peltzer pet. They don't work right.
Well done, Jesse.
Well done.
Although I understand the mechanics behind the actual gremlin, so after the transformation. But how do 5 little Mogwai manage to string up a dog in Christmas lights on a front porch?
It was just the one.
Just right?
I think so, because like he's the only one that's acting like he's paying attention. Well, I guess it could have been all of them, but like it seemed to me like when I watched it, I was like, that one guy really, got some shit done. But like your thought makes more sense.
Yeah.
That he like
just like I said,
conscripted the other ones.
He ordered them around.
Yeah.
I still just, in looking at that scene, I just don't understand. There had to be a ladder and some type of pulley system, maybe. Like, I just don't see how it happened. But again, I guess suspension of disbelief is probably important when watching a movie like Gremlins. There were another nod that I noticed was, and it's towards the end, but there is the scene where Stripe is hiding within some stuffed animals, which is seems like a direct nod to E.T. The Invasion of the Body Snatchers one, they make really, really flagrant almost, because it's playing on the TV as they're molting into actual gremlins. So it was interesting to see how many things they touched on, and I'm sure there's a ton I missed, knowing that my movie knowledge is less than probably all 3 of my co-hosts tonight. But yeah, it was fun and interesting to see how many things were borrowed or nodded to in this movie.
Agreed.
Can I make an observation? This is kind of along the lines of Livius's how did they string up the dog? How come nobody's like, what the fuck animal is this? When like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if that actually happened, like the everybody would just go bonkers. They'd be like, this is a new species, and it understands how to sing and shit like that, and like it can say human words. But it was like kind of blown off like, oh yeah, we get these fucking Mogwai all the time. Like it was no big deal. Like this might as well happen.
I think the 80s were a time of wonder, and anything is allowed.
Oh yeah. There's another odd placement. Do you guys know? So there's the 2 cops who are clearly drunk on duty, right? Not the sheriff, but the deputy. Did you guys catch who that was?
I know he's from Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, he's from Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad is what I was thinking of. That guy, I mean, talk about a 180 from being the goofy sidekick cop to
a badass, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He plays Hannibal Lecter in that spoof movie too.
He was in Beverly Hills Cop, guys. Can we not? He was the crony to Victor Maitland. He was the guy that was like the
yeah, he was.
Cuz.
Sorry.
They called him Cuz.
Wow.
This is what I meant about my knowledge of movies.
And
It's a little thinner.
Apparently, he was
No,
in
I've never
something
seen
called
Beverly
Breaking
Hills
Bad. So,
Yeah. I really thought that the movie might, and I've seen this movie a few times, and I was still surprised that they don't address the gremlin that's left at the school. Like, I thought that would be a good way to segue, like they might not be out of trouble, because that's the one gremlin that's separated from the rest of them. I mean, I'm sure that it could be argued that he met up with them at some point, but the gremlin is left just prowling the school when Billy, runs home after his encounter with it, after it kills the scientist. I'll have a piece of trivia for you guys. How many confirmed human deaths are there in the movie Gremlins? Rob has a note.
I believe 3.
Yeah. I'm going with, I'm just referring to one of the trivia things on IMDb. They said there were 4.
Whoa.
Oh, well, is it the cops? Does it list who it is?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. We know it's the scientist. We know it's Miss Deagle, but I don't know who the other two specifically.
The Futtermans both survive because they're in Gremlins 2, so it's not them. And the only other 2 people it could be is the cops.
There is a mention, which I did not catch. I also read this during the trivia on IMDb, is that initially they had thought to kill Mr. Futterman, but it is mentioned. Rob has such nice writing.
You do.
He really does.
It
said Rand Peltzer's body count.
Apparently, it's mentioned on the radio that they're going to go and interview him at the hospital, and that's how they pull out from killing him, is by mentioning in the movie that he's alive. But it's like in the background on the radio while they're in the car, I believe.
All right, I'm going to make a random observation. Talking about like all the Peltzer products that don't work. There's a coffee maker scene where it like comes out like this like black sludge.
Yes.
Which that's the joke. It's just a joke scene. It's just like, a fun like moment. There on the counter is a fucking artichoke with all of this like wires sticking out of it, and it's moving like the entire scene. It's like moving, and it's an artichoke with wires sticking out of it. Did any of you notice that?
No.
No.
Why?
Do artichokes work like potatoes that you can like conduct electricity and shit?
Yeah.
But the potatoes don't shake around, do they?
No.
No.
It's a weird observation.
I mean, you think the coffee maker's weird? How about that orange juicer? That's way too much juice and pulp for like one orange. That's all he puts in there.
Yep.
Some sort of voodoo magic. That's the real magic of the thing. Not that it does it properly, but it just takes one orange and turns it into like 30 oranges worth of juice.
My favorite one was the walkie-talkie, like cordless phone that didn't work.
Oh yeah.
And she's like only 3 feet away from the handset.
Well, but that's the thing. It's interesting how much his family loves him, because they know none of these products work. They approach them all with apprehension, but yet they still try and they still support him, which is, I think, one of the more endearing things about this movie.
It is. I totally agree, and that was my biggest observation, was that wife is super patient and loves him, supports him 100% with all of this chaos.
And she's a badass too. Like she almost saved the day before it turned into a lifelong nightmare. Like she took out like half of them.
Yeah, get out of my
2
kitchen,
minutes.
yo. Yeah, she did.
But
let's not forget them.
She is an enabler of the dad's nonsense, which means she's also an enabler of Billy being a total little bitch.
Wow. How do you feel about Billy?
Do we really think Billy was a little bitch? Not we, do you? Because I don't think the other 3 do, or the other 2 and myself don't. Yeah.
I don't. He is that classic sweet 80s main male character. Like, there was very cliche characters to me. You don't think so?
I'm kind of with Misty on this one.
Dude's totally helpless.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's normal. Like, I feel like I've seen that
Misty's starting a gender war here.
Yeah.
I do want to say it's always nice to see Corey Feldman in something. So, and in this one, it was a total surprise because I had forgotten that he was in it, and then he shows up in that Christmas tree at the beginning. I was like, hey, it's Corey Feldman. I like that guy.
Yeah, agreed.
Rob and I had a discussion once about his music video.
Oh, that's such a good video.
Yeah.
Something Ascension, right?
I believe that is correct. Yep.
Yeah. So good. Like, it's brilliant. It's probably the best thing he's ever done.
I mean, I think Lost Boys, and then probably that video. If I had to, yeah.
Dude, you want to talk about the rules they laid down and didn't explain what would happen to them? Did anyone else feel like they were being really careless when what was Feldman's character's name? When he goes up to Billy's room to visit and check out the Mogwai, he's got a glass of something that he's drinking, and he's so careless with it on the bed right next to Gizmo.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, no.
Yeah.
Well, and then the fucked up part is you think that's what's going to get him, right? Because they make a whole point about him with the glass, and then it's not. He knocks over an artist at the paintbrush, cleaning cup. Yeah. Any other notes, Rob? Saw you going through your little book there.
First of all, the Corey Feldman video is called Ascension Millennium. Everybody needs to watch it because it's ridiculous Corey Feldman, but it's a one-shot video. Like, it's all shot. It's a one-shot. And the actual, like, choreography of the action is fucking impressive. So it might have been clever editing, whatever, but it's still, for a guy who everybody just thinks is a fuck-up, like, I feel like that it was a really big achievement. I have a note that says Mr. Futterman would really love Trump. Phoebe Cates is a real downer. Mogwai eating chicken is gross.
Yeah, what's that thing called when you can't stand the sounds of eating?
Oh, yes.
Misophenia.
Misophenia, yeah. Pretty hard.
Why wasn't that chicken covered in the fridge? At least like with some saran wrap. But also, why did that kid just take what clearly was dinner, right? Because that wasn't leftovers. There were like 20 pieces of chicken on that plate. Just like takes it out of the fridge, runs it up to his room. Like mom doesn't say anything about it. Like afterwards.
Gonna feed my magic pets. All right, so I want to talk about some of the things that makes Billy a little bitch. First of all, okay, so Adam from Oshkosh, whose legs don't work, just commented, chicken is just gross. Somebody to cut in with an acknowledgement of the fact that Adam is allergic to chicken, and which is a weird allergy. Yeah, but
does it turn him into a little green monster that goes around destroying the town? Is that because Mogwai also allergic to chicken, kind of?
Yeah. He's probably had some chicken because that's how I feel about him. But when we were growing up as kids, if like he stayed over at my house, somehow magically that was the night that mom was making chicken. Without fail, chicken was on the menu, and he couldn't eat it, so he ate all the mashed potatoes, which pissed me off because I love mashed potatoes. So I always hated it when he came over because dinner was always messed up.
Get off my mashed potatoes.
So, on top of all the other stuff we said about Billy so far, can we all just acknowledge the fact that, is it Stripe?
Yeah.
Yeah. Stripe breaks into the YMCA, jumps into the pool, Billy watches it happen, just looks for a few seconds, and then just leaves.
Yeah.
What do you want him to do?
Literally anything.
Like electricity in the pool, chemicals in the pool, like start a fire. I mean,
like electrocute the pool. Spoiler alert, that's how they saved Gremlins 2. Like that was the ending of Gremlins 2. I was like, just throw a toaster in the pool and you're done.
So people have a fight or flight response. Billy's is flight.
Because he's a little bitch.
And, in Billy's defense, he did turn this over to the very capable police force in that town already.
He ran away from the school when the teacher died.
Yes.
He ran away from
All
his
right.
house when the
Okay.
gremlins hatched to go to
Okay.
the school. Ran away from
Yeah.
there. Ran away from the
He did.
YMCA.
He did have to run away from the school, though, because that's when he knew his mom was under attack. That's when Stripe or whichever one knows to cut the phone cords while they're on the phone, which I'll let take me into some of the things that I'm really surprised gremlins know how to do. At one point, one of them has tampered with the wiring on a traffic light and is able to change it from like red to green. Like, I can guarantee you, if we were given 2 hours and a $10,000 prize, the four of us collectively could not make that happen.
No.
We
hell
don't
no.
have a script writer in our corner though, so
This is very true. Yeah. Then there's the we mentioned briefly Mrs. Deagle's chair, the fact that they could accelerate it past what I have to assume is the function of the chair, because it's supposed to take old people or handicapped people up and down the stairs.
Yeah.
I don't think at any point it's designed to go like 75 miles an hour or whatever that speed was with which he was moving. And that's beyond all the things that are already mentioned about them knowing the words to songs and being able to essentially speak English and whatever. So yeah, it was
work a gun.
They
Work
know what
a
a gun
gun.
is. Not
yes,
just working.
yes,
They, like,
and
can
multiple
identify.
times. It's not just once. It happens in the bar, and then it happens towards the end at the whatever sporting goods store, whatever department store that they're in.
And
The
they
bar,
can drive.
they know how to make cocktails. They know how to play poker.
The poker, and then they can drive.
They can drive.
They know how to put on a trench coat and flash someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that too.
Well, I assume that was universal.
Everybody
weird.
learned a little Christmas fact about Livius.
Now that you mention it, did it strike you that there were any female gremlins?
Well, yeah, or at least dressed up as, right?
was one
like
dressed
the
as a woman.
dancing one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I felt like they were all really distinctively male.
Yeah.
Like no girl gremlins.
Either.
I'm going to go back into trivia for a moment. Initially, when this was written, our hero Gizmo was actually supposed to become Stripe.
Oh.
So think about what a different movie that would have been if there wasn't a hero Mogwai, around towards the end. If they all just became gremlins, I mean, that becomes a very different movie.
Yeah, I don't think that this type of movie was ready for a complex character like that. They needed very black
They
and
needed
white.
to sell toys.
Evil.
They needed to sell toys.
And they did. Oh shit, I forget what it was, but Furbies were designed after Gizmo.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Oh, those
I mean,
little
it
things
took
are creepy.
it took like 10 years or whatever for them to come around, but
do
they
have
were there.
those big blinking eyes, don't they?
They're like, do you know what Gizmo really needs to sell more? The Uncanny Valley. That's
Ugh,
what Gizmo needs.
I hate it.
I thought I had another thing to talk about. Oh, so I sent a joke. This is a joke that the besties will understand, but maybe not anybody else. So there's a movie theater scene, and there's another thing. Gremlins apparently know how to use an old school projection machine, because they spool up fucking Snow White, which apparently for some reason is like their favorite movie. Does anybody have any insight into that, or is it just like, do you think it's rights thing?
From a filmmaking perspective, that was released on the same day as Gremlins, but like 60 years before that or whatever it was.
So you think it was like a insider kind of homage kind of thing?
There's a lot of them. So while we're on the movie theater, the movies that are listed on the outside of the movie theater were the working names for two other Spielberg projects. It was E.T. and Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yep.
So those were
Watch
the
the
working
Skies.
titles from. Yeah, so there were a number of things that were in that movie that were just inside nods to things. By the way, that is the same town and the same movie theater that's featured in Back to the Future.
Yeah.
I thought that, but I didn't note that. But
Yep.
I was like, they're in fucking Back to the Future town with a bunch of fake snow. Like,
And,
but here,
the radio show Billboard. The
Indiana
font
Jones
is the Indiana
style.
Jones font.
Yep. I did send a text to Misty and Jesse saying that the gremlin that was working in the projection booth's name is Chet, because in the movie The Nice Guys, the projectionalist's name is Chet, and he's just a real pain in the ass. Fucking
The
Chet.
Chets of the world.
I was gonna say Chet's of the world.
My favorite trivia about Gremlins is it was directed by Joe Dante.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the character's name who has the plow? Who's drunk, pretty much.
Futterman?
Futterman. So yeah, Dick Miller. Dick Miller, until he died, was in every single movie that Joe Dante ever made.
Oh
Yep.
wow!
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
He's the Ted Raimi.
Yeah, he was in almost every movie that Corman made too, or at least on Corman's initial run as a movie director. So yeah, he came up with that school of people and was kind of always considered the everyman character.
Yeah.
And things.
Mr. Futterman. Not a big fan of
All right.
foreigners.
Before we go,
TVs.
by the way, he mentioned Zenith. Both of my parents worked at Zenith.
It's,
So we'll go around for final thoughts before we go to wrap-ups. Jesse, anything else you want to address before we go into giving this some stars?
no. Good.
Misty.
No.
Rob, are you done flipping pages? It looked like you had like 4 pages of notes.
Yeah.
You were just like,
Well,
hold
we
on.
watched 2 movies, so yeah.
I know. It's just...
You know, we joke about it, but it's still a great fucking fun movie to watch.
That sounds like somebody who's ready to do their wrap-up. So, Rob, we'll pass it to you.
So, like, we can always pick apart a movie for, like, the insane amount of suspension of disbelief that it requires, or just the ridiculous characters, or the things that characters do, or the fact that Billy's a little bitch. But just watching the movie from an entertainment perspective, it's a lot of fun. One thing that I forgot to mention, but I did have a specific note of, is Gremlins laughing is super cute. And so like that little like like that really fast like chittery laugh is super cute. Like they could have done probably anything in the film as long as that little chittery laugh was happening somewhere on screen. It would have been like, all right, I'm on board for this. It's just fun and entertaining. So, yeah, it's a great stupid movie. And oh wait, do I have to give it? What kind of rating are we giving it?
We're going with traditional stars.
I'm giving it 5 gizmos. There we go, 5 gizmos.
5 gizmos it is. I did want to mention too, and this was in my notes. I forgot all about it. Howie Mandel is the voice of Gizmo, for anybody who's not aware.
I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's got that little Bobby kind of sound to
Yeah.
him. Like yeah. Let's go to Jesse.
I've always liked Gremlins. It's kind of just like it's so full of all those references, and I think a lot of that is because where and how it was made and who made the movie too. Like it's really kind of film geek special to me in that way, because Chris Columbus wrote it, and he wrote probably my favorite, what would be considered more of a kids movie or more of like young adult movie before that was a thing, with Young Sherlock Holmes. Always loved that.
Oh.
His first directed film was Adventures in Babysitting, which I love. And of course, Joe Dante, the director of Gremlins, has made so many great films, including Rock and Roll High School and The Howling. So I've just always loved the entire team that put it together. And the ending is fantastic. It is not a conventional ending, especially for an 80s movie, especially for one geared towards a younger audience. So I super respect that they ended it in the fashion that they did, when it could have gone a completely different way. So I've always thought it was just a really darn good movie. So definitely going to go 4.5 on that one.
Nice.
And Misty.
Yes, I actually had not seen this movie since I was a kid. If it came out in '84, I was 2. So I imagine I was not 2 when I saw it, but fairly young. And I don't remember liking it very much. I definitely didn't rewatch it when I was younger. And I was pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed watching it recently. I've watched it twice now since it was assigned as homework. To piggyback on Rob's comment about the chittering, yes. Like, my favorite parts of the movie are just the scenes with the gremlins taking over the town, wreaking havoc, and giggling all over the place. It's hysterical. All the different dress-ups that they do and characters that they pay homage to, because there is the poker scene. There's like a gangster. There's a robber. Anyway, super fun. Loved it. Oh my gosh, yes, the flasher. Anyway, so to sum it up, 5 out of 5 gizmos for me too.
All right. I did see this movie when I was young. I did see Gremlins 2 in the theater. I did not see Gremlins in the theater, but I did. I've always enjoyed this movie, despite its many, continuity flaws or whatever you want to call it. It is just good, wholesome, borderline horror fun. And to piggyback on what you guys said, not necessarily about the chittering, but I'm with Misty. As ridiculous as all the things they did was, the enthusiasm with which they did it was just adorable. Like, the sheer joy they got out of it was contagious. Like, I found myself rooting for them to do more ridiculous things because they enjoyed it so much. The ending, a little non-traditional, because you'd think that Gizmo would just live with Billy forever, and that's not the case, as its original owner, or whatever you want to call him, does come back and collect him, because we're not ready for it. Was a little on the sad side. And there's the very, very touching moment where Gizmo asks to talk to Billy, and to say goodbye to him. So, I'm going to hair up to you guys, and I'm going to go 4.5 on this one. I love Gremlins.
Before we move on to, or before we move off of Gremlins, I guess, I will say that I did also watch Gremlins 2. And I have just a couple of observations about that movie. Has anybody seen it? Well, Livius, you saw it in the theater, but I don't know if you've seen it since then.
Yeah.
I believe I've seen it once since then, but it's been years and years.
So, a couple of observations. The two things I want to talk about, first of all, is Phoebe Cates' character. The big thing that wow, Misty doesn't like Phoebe Cates apparently. The big thing about...
No, I got annoyed with her in the bar not being able to get up that whole... And anyway, continue.
Well, there's she has that disturbing thing in the first movie. Yes. And like they rehash that in the second movie, but it's like monumentally worse. Like, does anybody remember what her story is that she says in the second one? Oh my God! All right, so something comes up about Abraham Lincoln, like his birthday was coming up or something like that, and she's like, "I hate that. I hate Abraham Lincoln's birthday," or something like that. "I hate Lincoln." And then she goes into this whole, like, she starts to, and you can tell Billy's like, oh shit, here we go again. But she starts talking about her, like, traumatic Abraham Lincoln experience. And so her story is that she was like 9 years old, and she was like coming home from school or something. She was by herself. Someone stops her dressed as Abe Lincoln.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
With a trench coat. And she's like, and then, like, as she's starting to basically tell that the guy flashed her as dressed as Abe Lincoln when she's 9 years old, like, Billy's like, honey, we have to go, or something like that, and he stops her. She was flashed at the age of 9 by a guy dressed as Abe Lincoln, but she was flashed by a gremlin the exact same way in the first movie and in the second movie. So they're just piling onto this childhood trauma of a 9-year-old girl being essentially sexually assaulted by someone showing their naked body to her. Like, how fucking crazy is that?
There was a lot of controversy around that in the first movie, that some people thought either it was too dark for the movie, or the fact that they tried to make it comedic. And I still don't know what the intention was. If that was supposed to be funny, or if that was supposed to be morbid. But she does have that line I took it down. While everyone else is opening their presents, some people are opening their wrists.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It's such a, but like that darkness is absolutely earned by like the crazy shit that she has gone through, and it's just so weird. Like it just exists in such a, to like, as a contrast to all of the, especially in the second movie, they ramp up all of that playfulness and the chaos and the randomness of everything. So that I'd be interested to hear if there was a reason for that, because it's so like intentionally dark. No one had to do that. They did not have to add that to the movie. But I'm happy that like the flashing thing followed through and became something where it's like, wow, that's so far from being a fun joke. It's like pretty terrible.
If they would have made more Gremlins, I'm assuming they would have placed them on different holidays. And how many traumatic experiences do you think that character had around holidays?
Endlessly
if you
suffering.
went to a third one, you'd have to. Like, it would become the thing that people look for in the movie. Adam, whose legs don't work, says they invented PG-13 for that movie. Yes, that is correct.
Whoa.
That is correct. I did read that in the trivia. I will say my experience, and this will probably be hard for Rob to process. I only say this because you watched it recently. The theater I was in fell for that movie breaking in the middle of it.
Nice.
Yeah, people. Yeah, there's a scene where basically they try to imply the Gremlins have broken the movie that you're watching on the screen, and it's done in such a way that I felt like a lot of people, including myself, although I was just a kid at the time, kind of fell for oh no, like the movie's broken. Like not that I thought it was Gremlins, but that legitimately the movie broke in the middle.
General observation about Gremlins 2. So it takes place in a like a skyscraper, like a really futuristic skyscraper. And it's like the thing that I walked away thinking was, you didn't really care about any of the characters because they're like, it wasn't someone whose hometown was besieged by these monsters or something. It was just like this corporate kind of shitty place. Everybody's pretty much shitty anyway. The CEO is shitty. Billy's boss is shitty. Like everybody who you see as a character is not like a redeemable or like a character you could identify with. So the second movie is absolutely missing like you wanting them to get through this like weird gremlin infestation. So it kind of fell, I think, a little bit on the fact that it didn't give you like someone to care about, but they ramped up the weird with like the genetic thing where they're turning into bats and fucking spiders and stuff like that. So it was still entertaining, but like, yeah. Oh,
that's
I
the
spoiled.
second movie?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I guess I need to watch it. Okay.
But
Need is a strong word from what I remember.
It's
I'll defer to
entertaining.
Rob, who watched seriously.
It's definitely entertaining.
Okay.
They explore like they basically take the idea that like, so the gremlins like dress up as different characters in the first one, but in this one, through like a random genetics lab that's in the building, they actually become other things. So they kind of expand on that thought. It's entertaining, but it kind of loses some of the soul of like a small town and these like wholesome people having to fight these monsters. It's more just like monsters versus monsters in a way. So but it was still entertaining. Not much gizmo in it though, which is weird.
Well,
So
All
there you
right. I'm going to move us along to movie number 2 of the holiday office party episode, and that was Scrooged, 1988 movie directed by Richard Donner. Scored a 7 out of 10 on IMDb, which is 0.3 less than the movie we just discussed. Here is the one-line synopsis. A selfish, cynical television executive is haunted by 3 spirits bearing lessons on Christmas Eve. The first thing that struck me was, felt like I've seen this plot before.
oh, Olivia's.
Rob, take us into the movie.
So doesn't it start off with a montage of films that are going to be played on the TV station? And I marked down the names of the movies. So it was like, so basically the movie starts out with TV people are pitching, I think, a line of films or whatever to Bill Murray's character, who's the president of the network. The movies are called The Night the Reindeer Died.
Starring Lee Majors, the $6 Million Man.
Lee Majors.
That's right.
Been a good boy this year.
Bob Goulet's Cajun Christmas. I mean, he's like rowing on a boat and singing and shit. Father Loves Beaver is the other one. So I'll leave it to Beaver film called Father Loves Beaver.
Probably out chasing beaver.
Out chasing beaver.
If I know your father, he's out chasing beaver is the line. There you go. So, yeah. That's how it starts, and then like the pitch meeting, like, you know, the lights come up, and then obviously Bill Murray gets to demonstrate that he's an asshole. He's got an idea for like a commercial for. Oh wait, did they then run a trailer for the live thing?
Yeah, basically the actual movies are chosen. What they're running are the advertisements, and he does not appreciate the lameness of the previews, I guess.
So I'll tell you guys that I thought that live action like stuff was like newer, like live action remakes of movies or whatever. I thought that was born in like 2010. I was really surprised to see it in a movie that's whatever 30 something years old now.
Yeah. So he has this like insane like action movie trailer basically for the same thing, and everybody's like, oh, it was great, but like really they don't think about it. Bobcat Goldwater speaks up, and I have a note. One of my first notes is, when Bobcat Goldwater is in a scene, you know he'll have a prominent and underwhelming role.
Oh.
So there's my thoughts on that.
Dude just could not keep a bottle throughout the whole movie.
As I joked early on, this is obviously a play on Scrooge. Bobcat Goldwater, am I saying that name right?
Goldwater.
He is the first casualty, as he is fired and thrown out of the office by Bill Murray's character, who incidentally is not Scrooge, because they are putting on a production of Scrooge. He is just a modern day man. Mark Cross, is that his name? Mark Xavier Cross, I believe. So it is not a true like modern day retelling of the traditional story, but it follows the exact same principles: Ghost of Christmas Past, Ghost of Christmas Present, Ghost of Christmas Future, to a very predictable end, I think, at least for most of it, because some of that, and we can get into that when we talk about trivia, some of that was not as predictable as it was written.
Does anybody remember what Bill Murray's character drinks? What his cocktail is that he drinks throughout the film?
Vodka and Tab.
What specific vodka?
Stolichnaya.
Stoli and Tab. That's his drink.
Oh,
So I'm a little disappointed Misty's not drinking Stoli and Tab right now, even though I don't think Tab exists anymore.
Yeah, I believe Tab was phased out recently, right? In the Coca-Cola.
Yeah, it was like 3 weeks ago, I think they announced that.
Yeah.
Probably find it in a store somewhere. I do have a note that this movie really nails the arbitrary and insane culture of Hollywood.
Oh, wow.
Like, if you think about the way that the executives interact and how like decisions are made and shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when they're talking about advertising to dogs and cats.
Yeah.
Do you know how many cats watch television, Frank?
Exactly.
Oh shit, yeah. And speaking of drinks in the movie too, did anyone catch that when Bill Murray's sitting in the restaurant with Robert Mitchum's character, that they both just order highballs?
Yeah.
But a highball isn't a singular thing.
Oh.
So it's like it's vague and confusing. Like, how do they know what to bring them? Because they both end up with different drinks too.
Good call, Jesse, because if I was trying to be a badass at a bar, I would probably order a highball, and I did not know that would not just get me a drink. So you're saying it's the equivalent of when someone walks into a bar and says, "I'll have a beer," and then someone just gets them a beer, right? Like, is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny. That's funny.
I don't know how many notes I'm gonna have about this because a lot of my notes are just like this character plays so and so in another movie. Like,
Oh, wow.
like there's early on in the movie, there's a scene where Bill Murray's walking somewhere. I think he's walking to the he's walking somewhere, and they go past a like feed the starving musician kind of thing, and it's Paul Schaefer.
Paul Schaefer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
this movie has an insane
not
cast.
Just Paul Schaefer, and I'm not going to try to dig up the trivia, but I did read it. It's like Paul Schaefer, like Miles Davis, like some other famous musicians. It's for like known musicians. But yeah, if we did cameos in this, I think that would take up half an hour. It's literally the entire movie's one giant cameo, basically.
Yeah.
Even Mary Lou Retton.
I think my note about her is that she is the most tragically undercast like person in the entire movie.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I don't even think she got to do the backflip twice. I think the scene that we see in the trailer is actually recycled from later in the movie when she does it when we see it. So I think that's her entire role is to just to do that backflip.
Yeah.
For anybody who's not familiar, Mary Lou Retton, American gold medalist gymnast who is only 4'9", if memory serves correctly. She's a tiny little thing that won the gold medal in 1984, I think.
I think that's right.
There you go.
I have no notes for this movie because that would require this movie to be noteworthy.
Oh!
Shots motherfucking fired.
And I'm gonna maybe interject here and there if something comes to mind, but I'm probably gonna leave the discussion to you three. I've got to tell you, coming off of Gremlins, and I saw that this afternoon, so I saw this movie 5 hours ago. I was really underwhelmed. Now, my exposure to Bill Murray is not really great or wide. I did absolutely love him in Lost in Translation, and obviously in Groundhog Day. And I was expecting something more like Groundhog Day, and I don't know what it is that I got. So that's kind of I'll probably let that serve as my wrap up at this point. But I was really underwhelmed at what to me was a really messy movie.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
Did you find Bill Murray unlikable?
No, I thought Bill Murray did a good job. I mean, I thought the plot, I thought the script, I should say, the plot is well trod, but I don't know, man. Like, I didn't like that second ghost, the ghost of Christmas Present that just assaults him the entire time. I found just annoying, and like she was saying things I didn't quite understand, like making references to things I didn't get. I was just, I had trouble latching on to anything in this movie to root for.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm probably in between the two worlds. I don't know if I dislike it as much as Livius, but honestly, the thing I like most about Scrooged are the other players in the movie. Like, I've always liked, ever since it came out, like, I love that David Johansen's the cab driver because he was a singer in the New York Dolls, which has always been one of my favorite punk bands.
Buster
and
Poindexter?
Karen Allen, David Johansen.
Oh shit! I got it wrong. Oh my god.
That job was originally meant to go to Sam Kinison, and then there was a change made because that guy was friends with one of the producers or something I read in the trivia. But originally that was
oh nice.
That was a Sam Kinison is who they were getting for that.
I could see him in that role too.
No,
Definitely.
I think that I like where they landed with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big Kinison fan though. Guess I don't have to worry about that much.
I mean, I can see Kinison in the role, but if he would have been in it, now that I think about it, bouncing off of what Livius was saying, it would have been too frantic with the ghost because Kinison would basically act probably the way Carol Kane acted, you know?
I was just going to say it would be very similar, I feel, to the Ghost of Christmas Present.
Yeah. But I do love that David Johansen's in the movie, and Karen Allen is my other favorite character. So Bill Murray really isn't the highlight of the movie for me.
The scene in which she pulls on his lip, she did it so hard they actually stopped production for a few days.
Oh,
I guess she actually injured Bill Murray's lip.
No way.
Yeah. Again, I'm only going off IMDb trivia, which I do believe is user submitted. So the things I've said tonight are all kind of based on things I read on IMDb trivia.
I have a note that maybe someone can, and Livius, you saw this tonight, so maybe it's fresher in your mind. I do have a note that says maybe the second best business card scene in movies.
Apart from American Psycho?
Yeah, so was there a business card? What happened in the business card scene in this movie?
Nothing that stands out. The only business card was his ex-girlfriend giving him a business card,
and then the way she's holding it, it's super awkward.
Oh,
like it's right
that's
on
what it
camera.
Was. It was sarcasm
like, even
because
her finger placement is like so awkward. Like,
it's like if I was handing you this product and I went,
yeah, no, exactly. It is so terrible.
It's so bad.
So what David James Keaton would call poor hand acting.
The worst hand acting. That's what it was. So it's sarcasm. I was like, but it was specific. You could tell that they're like, we got to get coverage of this fucking business card.
Seriously, they need to know where she is. Arms of Hope or something like that.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And Kim Allen is wonderful. She is the best part, other than Bill Murray.
She played Claire, right?
Yeah, Claire.
Yeah.
It took me. I couldn't figure out where I knew her from, and she is
everything.
She's Marion in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Thank you. That's where
the heavy drinker is what I wrote.
Yep. That's the only thing I know her from. I think. I mean, unless you guys are going to correct me on that.
Go ahead.
Moving on to something else. So unless you have a thought.
Oh no, I was gonna say she was in Animal House too.
Oh, it's been so long since I saw that. There was a Richard Pryor joke that, like, it was such an under the radar joke, but like someone was.
Oh, when he's like, "I thought you were Richard Pryor,"
because he was on fire or something. Was there?
You know, I thought
Richard
Pryor
got high on cocaine and apparently set himself on fire and was running down the street.
Yeah, he's freebasing
on fire. Yep.
So that Richard Pryor joke was like probably super timely and like, but for like nowadays, if someone watches this, they'd be like, I don't even understand what they're talking about. But I was like, God damn, that was a good joke.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ad-libbing that happened in this, mostly on Bill Murray's part, and apparently this is something he's kind of known for. And the thing I alluded to when we started talking about this, while Rob looks through his notes, the whole talking, the breaking the fourth wall at the end, although he's not necessarily, I mean, he's doing it, right, but he's also on television, was completely ad-libbed. It was not part of the original script. So that's why when I said that it ended probably a surprising way, even for like the screenwriters, is that wasn't written. That whole kind of him talking directly to you, like moviegoers, was all made up on the spot.
Yeah. He does do that. That happens in Ghostbusters too. Like if you watch any of the stuff about it being made, so when he walks into Sigourney Weaver's apartment and does the thing on the piano and says they hate this, that was completely improv. And I think that's what I love so much about Bill Murray's character in this is I think his delivery is obviously not scripted. There's something about the way that he speaks that just sounds natural to me, or like it's a real reaction instead of a like rehearsed scripted. But I'm also just a huge fan. We share a birthday.
Oh, there it is. It all comes out.
Oh, you look good for 70, Misty.
I have a couple of random things. In the sewer, like he gets transported underground to where like the bum is frozen to death, and his opening remark is, "Where are we, Trump Tower?" Totally different meaning today than when that film was made. So there was a thing in the for the Ghost of Christmas, I guess, Future, is the big skeleton dude. It's death, right?
Yeah.
And then the joke is that he sees the TV one thinking it's the real one, but then later sees the real one. The TV one, he jokingly says something along the lines of that the actor in the costume has like a great future ahead of him. So I looked at who the actor was who was in the costume, and I looked up his IMDb. That's definitely not the case. Like, that guy was in like 3 things. So definitely got that prediction wrong.
I want to applaud Rob. That was a brilliant little bit of investigative reviewerism. I was going to say journalism, but I don't think that's quite what it was. Yeah, I like that. That's great.
Yeah.
I want to point out that I don't pay much attention to directors and producers and that kind of stuff. But while I was reading through the trivia, I was alarmed to find out that this Richard Donner guy, who apparently has done some things, directed this movie in between Lethal Weapon 1 and Lethal Weapon 2, which are amazing movies, which made this a little bit worse for me. Like, this, somehow I was like, oh, the guy who's responsible for those movies also responsible for this one.
I think you're being a little hard on it.
A little bit.
Mary Lou Retton, probably the most underused person in this movie, is what I wrote. Oh, so I do have one criticism, but the one thing I'm going to say. So at the very end, when he's like talking to the camera, all that shit's going on, because he finally knows what Christmas is about or whatever. Right before, ooh shit, just knocked my phone all over the place. Right before he goes into his like end of the episode Saturday Night Live thing where he's talking at the camera, like, you know, it's because he's a Saturday Night Live guy that he did that kind of shit. It's the only time that his assistant, like her little kid who doesn't speak the whole film, he speaks, and that's like his Christmas miracle or whatever.
Yeah.
I just want to point out that was his kind of Christmas miracle, was specifically like getting that boy to finally talk.
Yeah, because he's like Tiny Tim.
Yeah. That was
all right. Okay. I wasn't going to bring it up, but what exactly did he do that got that kid to speak? Like, I understand the whole Tiny Tim thing, and I thought it was very touching that boy finally talked. All I'm saying is Bill Murray had zero impact on that happening. I don't think his kid listened to that impassioned Christmas speech and then was like, I'm going to start talking again. Like, what I would have liked to have seen a little bit of redemption for this movie was there to be something where maybe mom was a little more down and out. Maybe it was a little more like Tiny Tim's family, and somehow, you know, he brought some joy to their lives, you know, make their lives easier. It's like the kid watched this unhinged TV executive like go on a Christmas rant, and all of a sudden was like, now I'm going to speak for the first time since I watched my father die. I would have preferred a little more schlock in that part of the movie than all the other schlock that we got in the rest of it.
Which actually kind of leads into my one criticism. And it's not a criticism of this film. It's a criticism of the story that this film is based on. Is I give a fuck about a woe is me rich person story. Like, fuck you. I don't care if you don't know how to love and you just, like, because of that are mean to everybody. Get out of here with that. Like, who cares? Like, the happiness of everybody in this film hinges on this one rich guy's emotional whims. He doesn't deserve a redemption. Like, he doesn't deserve to have a happy ending based on all of the misery that he has obviously perpetrated on everybody that's close to him for the entire movie.
I somewhat agree with you. I think that he doesn't deserve to be elevated by other people. I think from a standpoint of like a character transition story, this is really kind of what, right? Like, he grows as a person because he's able to see these things. But in all of these retellings, the original, it's like he's heralded by people for having this redemption. Like, I think it would probably be a little more poignant. I think you're right. If he got his redemption, but it was quiet and internal versus I don't know. I was gonna say more like George Bailey, but there's a pretty similar scene at the end of It's a Wonderful Life. So not, but you know what I mean? Where like he has redeemed his own belief in life and how he's going to proceed forward as a person without all the heraldry.
Right. No, like what really should happen is he has this fucking epiphany and he thinks that he's just discovered how like life should exist. And everybody's like, yeah, we've been there a long time. Or they just don't give a fuck at all and don't say anything.
You guys ready to go to wrap-ups on this one? Or
I think that's probably
Yeah.
a good idea.
I'm gonna go first so that we can end this on an up note. I just didn't connect with this movie. I although it was chuckle worthy in a few parts, it's really not my type of movie. And probably about 15 minutes in, I knew I was like, yeah, this is going to be more of a chore than something I'm going to enjoy. I'm going to give it a 2. I don't even know if I'm going to say anything else. I'm just going to give it a 2 and call it a day. So we'll go to Misty.
Oh, you don't want to end with me?
Let's end
that
with
would
Misty.
be the...
Let's end with Misty. Rob, what do you got?
I think that I aired my one grievance, which is like I think that the foundational elements of his redemptive arc and how it impacts other people is flawed as a storytelling device in general, and it shouldn't be. It's all too often. Like, don't get me started on billionaires. Batman is the worst thing for Gotham, but that's a whole different like conversation. Livy's just like, what? And also it's Christmas time, so Batman smells. But it's an entertaining movie. It's a fun, goofy thing. I will point out that there are 4 Murrays in this movie. 3 of them are related, Bill Murray and 2 of his brothers, and then also Brian Doyle Murray. So you get a little bonus Murray, which is nice. Although I'm kind of with Livius. I didn't get the Bill Murray that I was like that I like to see in films. Like I think it's because he had to play an unlikable character, and he's just not as entertaining as a unlikable character as he is when he's being like Pete Venkman or something like that. So where he's lovable and charming and stuff. So that missed the mark for me a little bit. Otherwise, it's a fine movie. It's entertaining. I really enjoyed, now that I'm seeing this in the present day, being like, oh, she's from Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Oh, that person's from this movie, and like picking out where all the cast has been seen and other stuff. So I enjoyed it. I don't have anything like otherwise bad to say about it, and it's getting 4 Tiny Tims.
Or Mary
Jesse.
For Mary Lou Retton.
Jesse, give us something.
So, yeah, I don't really have much on this movie. I'm gonna give it a half for Karen Allen. I'm gonna give another half for David Johansen, and I'm gonna throw in another half for Wendy Malick, Bill Murray's brother's girlfriend, who's an awesome character actor. So I'm giving it 1.5 Tiny Tims.
That's not a lot of Tiny Tims.
That is some brutal stuff, guys. This is my favorite holiday movie. I have watched it, not because it's homework, because I do this every year, at least 10 times since Thanksgiving. I will say I have never put a critical eye on it. It's been my favorite movie or holiday movie for a very long time, maybe since I was a kid. I do love Bill Murray and almost think he can do no wrong when it comes to what I watch him in. So there's that as well. Just one thing about, him not deserving redemption. Him in the past, he came from a working class family, and then he worked him there was he wasn't just always had that. Anyway, so I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 Tiny Tims. And I appreciate you guys watching it.
Adam, whose legs don't work, says, screw you, Ebenezer, and I feel like that might be directed at me, and I'm okay with that.
Although I think you gave it a bigger rating than Jesse did.
I did.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
I guess I'm the Ebenezer.
Misty, your favorite holiday movie, really?
Oh, I love it so much. I do. I just put it. I love the way he says stuff. It's funny.
Like
Well,
better than It's a Wonderful Life, Miracle on 34th Street,
Yeah, I don't know.
Gremlins, fucking Die Hard, whatever. I mean, you guys will
Kiss
call
Kiss
anything.
Bang Bang, the
Yeah.
nice guy.
I mean, I
If
love
there's
it, but
if
like,
there's a little bit of snow on the ground, you guys will refer to anything as a Christmas movie. So this is a top out of like,
yeah, it is.
Wow.
For me.
Okay.
all right, Livius, what's your favorite Christmas movie?
Probably It's a Wonderful Life.
Aw.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, and if we're gonna call Die Hard a Christmas movie, it's probably really close between those two.
Uh,
Rob, I guess we should go around. Misty said hers. Rob, favorite Christmas movie?
that's. I'm gonna deflect from that because I can't think of one at the moment by saying that I was driving around in the city in Chicago yesterday, and we drove past a house that had Christmas decorations, but it was Nightmare Before Christmas decorations. So Jack Skellington and like the girl he refuses to acknowledge, what's her name?
Sally.
Sally. Like excellently done. Like life-size dolls or whatever on the roof of this house with like the sleigh and everything. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. Also, that's a shitty Christmas movie. So that's not it. That's not my favorite Christmas movie. I
Tell you, I always considered that a Halloween movie.
I do too.
Yeah.
It's got Christmas in the title. Anyway,
Oh yeah, I know.
that was me.
No, it technically is, and I think it's on like Christmas movie lists, but I also have only watched it during Halloween season.
That was my filibuster. I would say that although
Sorry.
after recent reviewing, like the thing I think about at Christmas, because I don't there's not something that I watch every year. The thing that I think about, I think the thing that I tie Christmas most to would be the Charlie Brown Christmas, although we kind of tore that up when we talked about it. But I'm just going to say, I watched the movie The Nice Guys like probably as many times a year as Misty watches Scrooged. And that is absolutely a Christmas film. Intentionally so, and so that's my choice.
Jesse, please,
Black
please.
Christmas.
Oh God. All right.
Not the
Okay.
2019 one, though, right?
I actually really, really like that one, but I'm talking about the original, and there's 3. It's been remade twice.
Yep.
There was one in the first decade of the 2000s.
Yep.
One came out.
From IMDb, 7.2, which does rank better than Scrooge. 1974, during their Christmas break, a group of sorority girls are stalked by a stranger. I have not seen this, Jesse.
It's classic.
It's really
I-
good.
either.
It's a slasher movie that came out before Halloween, and the guy who directed it also directed A Christmas Story.
Get out of town. That's my dad's favorite one.
I've got to tell you, as much as I want to say that you sold me on this. Margot Kidder, a childhood crush of mine, is in this. That's enough to get me to watch it.
Margot Kidder's pretty aces.
Faux show. All right, that's our 2 Christmas movies reviewed with some difference in Scrooged in ratings. I think we all were pretty on the same page about Gremlins. Is everything okay? Everyone all right? I hear some weird
There's
noises in the
something
background.
going on in the parking lot next to my apartment building. I don't know what's going on.
I was like, Misty's dog is way too small to make that much noise. To me, it kind of sounded like a big dog running on a wood floor, but it's like I don't think Misty's dog makes that much noise ever.
No, and she is passed out.
The final thing
Too much
on this
dog nog?
evening's
Listen.
That party yesterday.
the final segment we have for this evening is a quiz. Rob, I'm going to ask you to keep score because we are going to have our 2 guest hosts battle it out over this. I'm not going to drag you into this. There are 20-ish. I think it's 19 questions that we're going to go through. I will say I should probably give credit where credit is due, and that would be to Scotsman.com. This is, I edited out some, so it's 25 Christmas pub quiz questions 2020. So if you're planning on going to a pub somewhere in Scotland where you think you might be doing trivia, you should pay attention because most of the questions will be on here. I'll explain. I edited out the ones that were kind of Scotland specific that I didn't think our two guest hosts would have any chance of getting, and I did keep it to the ones that I thought were most likely that you guys had a shot at answering. And now I realize I closed the window I had it open in. So Rob, cover me for a minute while I find what I did with this.
I want to break in. First of all, Jesse looked like you had something to say. Is that correct or no?
Yeah, I just had my hand up. I was going to say, is it cool if I grab another drink quick before doing
Absolutely.
Do it. Well, Jesse's grabbing a drink. I want to bring up a comment that came along through the comments from Adam in Oshkosh, whose legs don't work, who, by the way, is famous for doing a TED Talk, so that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
He did a TED Talk. It's pretty great. I think it's called something about giving people superpowers and smiling or something. Anyway, it's good. Everybody should watch it. Don't look for Adam in Oshkosh, whose legs don't work. But it's the Oshkosh TEDx, so everybody should check that out. Anyway, he says, Home Alone may be my favorite Christmas movie with the caveat that Kevin should be brought up on charges. We did talk about Home Alone on a previous holiday episode, one of the recent ones, and I think we all kind of fell in the middle on that one more than anything. Although I haven't watched the second one in a while, and I might want to check it out just for the sake of it. But there's there's 4 or 5, I want to say, Home Alone movies. Like the third one doesn't even have Macaulay Culkin in it, and then and I think that subsequent ones might. But yeah, Home Alone. Anyway,
2020, a great year to do another Home Alone sequel.
There you go.
Or it's just someone watching Netflix because there's nowhere else for them to go.
But probably not alone because everybody's at home. Unless you live alone, which you're home alone every day.
Exactly.
So that's me.
All right, here we go. I will have both of you answer each of these questions, and I guess we'll try to alternate who answers first. So we'll start with Misty.
Bring it on.
Astronauts broadcast which Christmas song from space in 1965? By the way, these are not multiple choice. You just have to know the answer.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
No Googling.
Here's what I'll say. Okay, all right. So Space Odyssey is our answer. Jesse.
What's the one that ground control to Major Tom?
I thought you said it's
the
a
question
Christmas song.
again?
Oh,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Jesse, you've got a chance to jump in the lead just by paying attention. Astronauts broadcast which Christmas song from space in 1965?
That I am now.
See, the funny thing is, I heard the question the first time, and I was still gonna give a David Bowie song as an answer. But since that's obviously incorrect, I'll pick a Christmas song in here, and I'll just say it's Silent Night.
All right, the correct answer: Jingle Bells. 0 points awarded. Doing which Christmas? Oh, so this is going to go to Jesse. Doing which Christmas activity sends roughly 14,700 Americans to emergency room every year?
Drinking.
All right, we have one answer for drinking. Misty was very excited, even though I told her Jesse was going to answer the question. She still had her hand up. You must have been a really annoying student. Misty.
I was Hermione Granger.
She was Hermione, yeah.
Yeah. Crap, and I had 2 enter my mind, but let's go with ice skating.
All right, both of those are incorrect. It is Christmas decorating.
That was my... Dang it!
That was my second choice, too.
After 2 terrible answers, we are tied at 0. Question number 3. This one goes to Misty. Mistletoe literally translates from Anglo-Saxon as what on a stick?
This is some bogus garbage. Mistletoe. Kissing flower.
Kissing flower on a stick. Jesse, what do you have?
Because we kiss under it. I don't know.
I like where your head's at, Misty.
Plant.
All right. So the correct answer is dung. Dung on a stick.
Poop on a stick? No way.
This one goes to Jesse. What Christmas decoration was originally made from strands of silver?
I'm ready.
So Christmas decorations have names?
I have a guess if they both get it wrong.
Yep.
Tinsel?
Okay.
Tinsel.
All right. Rob, what was your guess?
My guess was tinsel.
Tinsel.
Hey.
1 point to everybody. Everybody gets a point. Rob, put yourself in for a point on this one. Rob, really, it's tied after 5. If you want to jump in on this, by all means, you don't have to let them be the only ones. So, we'll go to Rob. We'll go to Rob for this one. You sure you don't want me to add you in?
No.
All right. Okay.
No.
I'm just gonna tally up my scores on my own to see.
That's fair.
To show you how many I got right, but I'll be quiet.
Misty, who played Scrooge in the Muppet Christmas Carol?
Oh, son of a bee. I have no
This one's tough.
idea.
I'll be honest, this one's tough.
Bill Murray.
Jesse.
Which movie was it again?
The Muppet Christmas Carol. Yeah.
Robert Mitchum.
Jesse was a lot closer. Michael Caine played Scrooge in the Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah, I would never have guessed that.
Nope. Well, you'll next year. That'll probably be our movie. Jesse, I really hope that everyone can get this one right. According to the folklore of Austria, that's all I should have to say, and you guys should be able to give me an answer, but I'll read the rest of the question. What horned figure punishes naughty children at Christmas time?
Krampus.
Misty?
Krampus.
All right.
Or Krampus, as others
1 point.
call it.
Yeah. 1 point each. Misty, in which modern-day country was St. Nicholas born? I have no hope of anybody getting this one.
Norway.
Jesse?
St. Nicholas. Holland.
Rob, you want to jump in on this one? Anything?
I was jokingly in my mind saying Latvia.
Rob, closest. Turkey.
Damn it.
Turkey.
No.
Yep.
You are
Turkey is where
kidding
St.
me.
Nicholas was born. Yep. I believe we're on to Jesse for this one. In the Christmas Carol, The 12 Days of Christmas, which gift is offered on the 7th day? If you want to sing through them, we're happy to listen.
Lord's Leaping.
All right, Misty?
Oh, I hope you're right.
I strongly recommend you sing through this one, Misty.
I know what it is now.
7 swans a swimming.
1 point awarded to Misty. So Misty has, I believe, taken the lead. Is that accurate, Rob?
We've got Misty with 3, Jesse with 2, and Rob with a ghost 3.
All right. Misty, which Christmas beverage is also known as milk punch?
Eggnog.
Jesse?
Eggnog.
Rob?
Eggnog.
All right, yeah, eggnog it is. Give everyone a point. Some of these
Even
get
though
really
milk punch is a thing all its own, though.
Some of these get really really easy, like this next one. I think is easy. In the movie It's a Wonderful Life, which we just referenced moments ago as my favorite Christmas movie, what happened every time a bell rang?
Wait, whose turn is it?
It's your turn,
It's yours.
Jesse.
Oh, an angel gets its wings.
Yeah. Every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings.
Thank you, Zuzu. I appreciate it. 1 point for everybody, Rob, in case you weren't aware that that's the right answer. Misty, what's the name? Oh, here's the other movie we just talked about. So I feel like Misty will get this. What's the name of the main villain in The Nightmare Before Christmas?
Oh, Jack Skellington. Or
right.
Oogie Boogie. Like, what?
I
We need a
will
judgment on that.
I will accept that. But the main villain, I feel, we'll take your answers into consideration. Jesse.
Thank you.
I know who the main villain is. I don't remember the character's name. It's the scientist dude.
Oh.
Well, I don't know that we can accept that as an answer without the name. But we're going to award 1 point to Misty for Oogie Boogie being the villain. I don't believe that was the scientist, right? That was not the scientist. It was
That's
all right. So
was mean too, though.
That's kind of bullshit.
He's a bad dude.
Is Misty's up by 2 now? Jesse, we got to get you going on this. So, in which popular American TV series does the idea of Chrismukkah originate?
Oh, fuck, I know this. Chrismukkah.
I will say that I proudly knew this one without even thinking about it. Like, I had to copy the answers to the question. So, oh yeah.
Fuck.
The thought I'm having is based along the, well, of course it would fucking be this show. So I don't know if am I on the right track, Livius?
I think you are. I think you might have it a little wrong, but I definitely.
It's the OC.
Okay, so we have 1 vote for the OC. Misty?
Jesse, you've really confused me with your answer, and normally I feel like you guide me a bit. Can you just say the question again? What television series?
In which popular American TV series does the idea of Chrismukkah originate? It's a mashup between Christmas and Hanukkah.
Get out of town. Yeah. Get out of town. Is that what it is? I don't know. That 70s show? I don't know.
Rob, what were you thinking?
My guess was Friends.
Oh, good Lord, no. Jesse is correct. The OC.
Ooh, Jesse.
I'm on the floor.
Yeah.
Jesse, please forgive me for
Jesse,
you.
Jesse and I both big fans of the OC.
Yeah.
My ex-husband used to like that show. I have watched like 1 season of it. I can't believe, Jesse, you've watched it too? Is that a CW show?
You fucking know it.
Fox.
Livius watched it.
No, it was a Fox show. The people who produced it did go on to do Gossip Girl on the CW. Yeah. But yeah.
Sorry.
So we are back to Misty. What does Noel mean in Latin?
Not him.
Okay. Very good.
I like that.
Jesse.
Hello.
Even Spanish-speaking people are rolling their eyes at you, Misty. I just want you to know that. not him.
No, L. Not him. It makes sense.
Wait, what was Jesse's answer?
Hello.
Hello. Rob, do you have a guess at this one?
Night?
Birth.
Oh, okay.
All right. Jesse.
It's a dead language.
The German Nazi regime replaced Santa Claus with which figure?
Hitler.
Okay. Misty?
Honestly, that was going to be my answer, Hitler.
Okay. Odin. Odin is the answer. It's kind of weird. Odin was a Greek. Greek god, right?
He's a Norse god.
He's the Allfather. His eye taken out.
Yeah.
Yes. Misty, the custom of erecting a Christmas tree originated from which country?
I'm going to go with Norway again.
Okay. Jesse?
Denmark.
So the correct answer, Germany.
No.
That was my other choice. Shit.
Jesse, all right, here's maybe one of the hardest ones because this just takes some imagination and guesswork. The official record for the tallest snowman is held by the U.S. town of Bethel, Maine. To the nearest 10 feet, How tall was it?
Holy shit. To the nearest 10 feet?
Yeah.
Like made out of real snow?
All I have is the question. I'm going to
Okay.
assume that a snowman is made out of snow. Yes.
180.
We have 180 feet. Misty?
That is really tall, Jesse. I'm just gonna go with like 50 feet.
50 feet. Okay. Rob, do you have a weigh in on this one?
80.
All right, 120 feet. It's a pretty big snowman.
That is a huge snowman.
Hey, closest
All right.
without going over. If we're doing Price is Right rules.
We are not doing Prices Right rules.
Damn it.
Misty's still ahead by 1, I believe. Correct?
Missy
Yeah.
has 6. Jesse has 5.
Rob, ghost answers. What do you
Goes
got?
to 6.
6. Okay. In Catalonia. Jesus Christ. I don't even know why. Oh, I know why I selected this
It's
one.
part of Spain, Misty.
In Catalonia, the Cagotillo, a cherry festive log, is fed treats until it does what?
I'm sorry. Could I hear that question one more time?
In Catalonia, the Cagotillo, a cherry festive log, is fed treats until it does what?
So they are feeding a log
Apparently.
until it bursts.
Okay. Jesse, do you have an answer on this one? There's no chance you're getting this. This is such a ridiculous answer.
They feed it treats until it's Christmas morning.
I like that, but no, that's incorrect. I'm going to read verbatim the answer. Poos, gifts, or chocolate?
7.
They
Ghost 7.
they feed it treats until it poos chocolate. Why not just eat the fucking treats? Because that sounds so much less disgusting.
I got that shit right, motherfuckers.
All right. Swedes traditionally celebrate Christmas Eve by watching which famous cartoon? And I will say that this is a cartoon we all know. The character that they reference is a character we all know, even though this is a specifically Swedish question.
Whose turn is it?
Yours.
Oh, How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Okay, Misty?
Frosty the Snowman.
Donald Duck.
What?
Yeah, that's the answer. Donald Duck. If we were tied, I left one as a bonus. I'm gonna go ahead and ask it. I know we're not tied, and Misty has won this, but I guess Jesse has a chance to catch up. Now, mind you, the reason this is on here and I didn't want to add it is because this is specifically a question relating to Scotland. So, and I think maybe Scotland uses the British music charts, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't think anyone's going to get it, but it's kind of an interesting question. Which pop song has won the Christmas singles chart #1 twice? It is not a Christmas song, but I will say, I will give you guys a hint. I believe it is the most played song on the radio ever in the United States.
Misty, it's your turn.
Oh, I guess I should have said that. That's okay.
Oh, I thought it was Jesse's chance to tie me. Oh gosh, I wasn't even thinking.
See if I can make it to Ghost 8.
Don't even have an answer. What song is the most played Christmas song in Britain?
Well, Misty doesn't even listen to the questions. That's the disturbing part.
I told you I didn't know I was going first.
Which pop song has won the Christmas singles chart #1 two different times. I was saying that I do believe it still holds a record in the United States as the most played song on radio. I don't know if that still holds true in 2020, but as of probably 4 or 5 years ago, that was the case.
Just think of the song you fucking hate the most at Christmas.
I know, that's what I was.
It is not a Christmas song, guys.
Oh.
Even by your guys' weird definition of how something is Christmas, it is not a Christmas song.
Rob, I think I know what you were thinking of, though.
I'm not making it to Go State.
No, and I'm not either. I don't have anything yesterday. That's all I got. I got Let It Be.
All right.
I don't know.
All right, we've got 2 wrong answers from Misty. Jesse.
Smooth.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Rob, were you on like Mariah Carey? Is
Yeah.
that what you were thinking? Oddly enough, the answer is Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen.
Shut your mouth.
I can see that.
Whoa, who's got the that's you, Livius? All right. The car sounds.
Yes. So we have a winner, and that is Misty with 7. How many, Rob?
6.
With 6.
Misty has 6. Jesse has 5.
And then we have an unofficial winner in Rob with Ghost tallying over there.
Ghost 7.
Yeah.
What does Misty win?
Nothing, because god damn it, that was awful. So that was a poor performance there,
That was
Misty. I
poor.
gotta tell you, not as poor as Jesse's, but yeah, that was
Almost as poor as Jesse's.
I really, when I was looking at this, I actually thought so many of these were too easy, and then it didn't turn out that way. Do you guys know you can't even buy tinsel in a fucking store anymore? We went tinsel shopping. There's no tinsel.
Dude, just
And you're
go
talking about
in.
the kind you just sprinkle? Yeah.
I believe the cat people
The cat.
got rid of tinsel.
Yeah, because if they eat it.
Yeah.
Just go into your silver vaults and start shaving off little pieces of
Well,
silver.
that's exactly what I did. But what about those people less fortunate who don't just have a vault full of silver, Rob? What about those people? I mean, my
you
thought
should
on
share. It's
thought on
Christmas.
tinsel. That's not going to happen. My thought on tinsel was, if it's the cat people, just don't put tinsel on your tree. Like, I don't know how to make this any simpler, but yes, tinsel has to be ordered at an exorbitant price from Amazon, apparently, if you want tinsel.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
That's bananas.
Bananas,
B-A-N-A-N-A.
which I believe was one of Misty's answers for something. I was like, what Christmas song? And she's like, Major Tom.
I stand by my answers.
What else you guys got going on? Jesse,
Well, I
what's
mean,
new with
now
you?
I got to get me one of those Catalonian logs, I guess, for next year.
Yeah, that
Till it,
was...
feed it until it poops
A
chocolate.
Cugatio.
I read the question. I was like, this is too bizarre. I'm going to take it off. And then I read the answer, and I was like, how can I not have poos, gifts, or chocolate out of like as an answer? I couldn't take it out of the quiz.
Is that the part of that was Italy? You said. Was that?
No, Spain.
Oh, Spain.
Yeah.
Is that which country had a part of its country like declare independence and it was a whole big problem? Anybody know what I'm talking about?
Well, Catalonia has been wanting. There has
Yeah.
been attempts or processes
They were
engaged
voting. Yeah.
to separate.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't believe that actually happened, right?
Well, they held votes because they wanted to.
Scotland voted to, I believe, in recent times, and I also believe that Quebec has voted for independence in recent times.
Then how come I haven't heard of Skexit and Kexit? Quebexit?
Oh.
Yeah, it's weird. Wikipedia does list it as an autonomous community on the northeastern corner of Spain.
They speak a different
Knew it.
language, too.
Mm.
Is it Catalan? Is that what they speak?
Yeah.
Sounds like something from that Star Wars TV show.
You guys want
Mandalorian?
Oh, I don't think we can talk about it, but show of hands who's watching it and is all caught up.
I'm not caught up.
All right, this says to Amber from.
What the fuck was that?
What the hell?
Sorry, I accidentally clicked on a video. I was trying.
Misty's fucking watching shit on Facebook while we're great. Now I know why she didn't hear any of the questions. She was like, "Gotta catch up on my social."
Now
media.
I know how she won that thing. She was cheating.
Scandal. Also, this is like the time that we were trying to hunt ghosts and Misty was shopping on the Sephora website.
Yeah. That's which is probably why we didn't catch any ghosts.
0 ghosts. They're like
on the floor, dead. Sorry.
the ghosts.
That eyeshadow, though.
The ghosts only appeared to Misty, but she didn't see them because she was looking at fucking makeup.
Let me see if I get this straight. Nobody here watches The Mandalorian?
No, I did watch a few episodes of the first season, and then I've seen in my feed that like people are raving about the finale of this second season.
Holy shit. That's all I have to say, because I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't gotten there.
Yeah, because I might watch it.
I reverted back to like 8 or 9-year-old oblivious, like teared up like a little bitch. It was fucking amazing. Amazing. If you are a Star Wars fan in any way, shape, or form, you cannot miss The Mandalorian, which is the best thing that has happened to Star Wars since Return of the Jedi back in, I don't know, whatever year that was, 1982 or something.
Yeah.
Some hot takes. Hot takes.
Wow.
Misty, what's shaking with you?
I mean, you know about the dog party. I am
Don't have to go back into that.
Living my best life in the house with, I mean, she hasn't made an appearance on the episode, so let's just take a look at Pride and Joy. Ready for the holiday
I'm
episode.
so glad it's one dog and not 30 cats, because really that's kind of what the predictions were.
So, thanks, Livius. But no, super great. Got to work this week, but I'm excited for small Christmas with the family coming up on Christmas Eve.
You're doing Christmas at your place?
No, at my parents.
I was going to say, it must be fun, your first, Christmas in a new place, so.
Yeah.
Rob, what's new with you?
Not a lot.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like life is at a very slow pace, especially for the holidays. Of note, I did send a nice picture of chickens to everybody that we're talking to right now, because the lovely woman that I'm dating right now owns 2 chickens, lives within Chicago city limits, and owns 2 chickens, which is pretty wild. And those
I just want to say, my first question when Rob mentioned chickens, I said, "Where does she live?" And I tried to make it like nondescript, and he was like, "Oh, this neighborhood in Chicago, which is, the neighborhood I grew up in," and I'm still having trouble processing that there's chickens essentially in my old neighborhood.
Yeah, so I was hanging out with chickens earlier today. We also had a fire outside last night and made s'mores, and so we're doing really cutesy shit, with the early part of the relationship. Yeah,
Rob is getting ready to homestead. He's tending chickens and making fires.
Oh, I am not tending chickens. I am observing chickens at a distance, because they're not going to get anything good out of me. I'm not getting anything from the chickens except maybe some eggs. So, yeah.
I'll be honest. Last night was probably not a bad time to make a fire. It was probably about 38 degrees out. It was not bad in Chicago for the week of Christmas. It's been pretty pleasant actually so far in this part of the woods. Jesse, you got 10 feet of snow?
None.
Whoa.
Good.
You've shoveled several times though, so you've had snow this season.
Oh, have you had none at all?
We have had 2 threats of snow, and not one flake has stuck to the sidewalk. We've been told we're going to get 4 to 6 inches twice now, and once we got 0. The other time we got the snow on the grass and just enough on your car that you had to go out 3 minutes earlier and just let your defroster run, but not even enough for me to break out the snow brush.
That's Texas snow right there.
That's a
I'm actually
Texas state
surprised
emergency.
you get
Yeah.
snow at
All
all.
the roads closed down.
100.
Misty, you have not gotten snow this year, though, right?
Oh goodness, no, it's barely gotten cold.
Yeah.
Cold.
What's the
cold?
current? Yeah, what's the current temperature there? I mean, like today.
Oh,
What was
today
the?
I believe was in the 50s. We've had at like in the evenings or early morning in the 30s, but it hasn't gone below freezing.
What's your thermostat at?
67 or 68.
Respectable. Nice.
Mhm. Yeah. So it has been a very mild. I mean, I guess technically winter isn't for another couple of hours, but the general winter season has been very mild for everybody, unless you're on the East Coast where you got a shit ton of snow dumped on you. There was that storm that went through New York, and I know New York City only got, I think, like a recorded like 4.5 inches, but there was one place in New York that they reported 48 inches of snow.
Holy shit.
No.
That's like Mary Lou Retton size snow.
Can't backflip out of that.
No, absolutely not.
That's
Anything else
bonkers.
anybody want to talk about before? I mean, this episode we may get out of this without it going completely off the rails, which would be a goddamn first for a holiday episode.
Yeah, I only drank one beer, so
Yeah, I'm
I
half
played
a
it
bottle
safe.
of wine. My probably 2.5 glasses now of wine, but
you can hear like the whiskey bottles rolling around the floor at Misty's house.
I do believe Misty was our first casualty, and that was on the last episode where I believe at one point she actually fell asleep and we had to send her to bed. So we're gonna clean this one up a little bit nicer for our viewers. First, I want to wish very happy holidays and a Merry Christmas to my 3 wonderful co-hosts, as well as to everybody that's watching/listening. If you're catching this on audio, I'm assuming this will be on audio. If not, then you won't know to come back here and watch it or something. So everybody have a happy and safe holiday season. Anybody else want to throw anything out before we let anybody go?
Just a quick note for our Patreon supporters, Livius will be working very hard to put tinsel and a bunch of little booked swag together for you. He's shaven silver to make tinsel to put in a little book swag. For anybody who's at the booked swag tier on Patreon, which it's going to be, I have accumulated a ton
Sweet.
of different stickers, magnets, buttons. There's like key lanyards, little key lanyards. There might even be something that's themed to 2020 mixed in too. So if you're like, hey, what happened to my swag? It is going to be going as soon as I tell Livius who to send it to. So keep an eye out for that. And thank you for all of your support. Thanks to everybody. I want to call out a comment. Happy holidays to everyone. Miss you from our friend Diana. So we got, it's been a while since we've had both a Comrade Chrome and a Diana comment in the same live episode. So I feel like our little family of love is complete. So that's a great way to go out. So Missy, Jesse, any kind of like thoughts for the end of our holiday season?
To the book swag, I'm super excited and have an address that won't lose mail now. Just FYI. But no, this has been great. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays,
Jesse.
everyone.
All right, guys, and a happy holiday to everybody that's listening or watching. We will have one more episode before the end of the year, so I'm not going to start wishing everybody a happy new year. But until next time, I'm Livius Nedden.
And I'm Rob Olson. Keep ho-ho-hoing. That's kind of lame.